And we are recording here. Okay.
All right.
So, should I zip my jacket?
No.
I think I should zip it. Hang on. As Daisy would say, this is for all my
followers.
all my peoples.
Comment on my mom's Facebook.
Which is probably just my mom and her mom. Welcome to This Is How We Do It with Chase and Rox. I'm Chase.
I'm Rox.
I love it because, listen, tonight, and really just the whole gist of the whole podcast and video series that we're doing is all about living our best life and just talking through how we do it. And I think that over been married almost 10 years, which doesn't seem like very long.
It doesn't seem like very long, especially since we were like duking it out before we recorded this first episode.
We're marriage experts after 10 years.
Okay.
Not. And humble. I don't even have my wedding ring on.
Yeah, you should put that on. I had mine on.
I went fishing earlier and took it off.
It's over there.
Where?
Over there.
I don't see it. Anyway, so I wanted to sit down with you and talk, because we've been talking about doing a podcast for years.
Years, literally.
Like, literal years. But now that we're marriage experts.
And locked down in quarantine.
And quarantined.
Quarantine. Quarnteen.
Yeah.
Quarantine.
Now that we're quarantined together, we have the time. And I wanted to talk through what living our best life looks like. And some of the thoughts that we've had are about being authentic. And the whole gist of this podcast and video series is just, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's when people ask us questions about, and that kind of sounds arrogant when people ask us questions, but we do get questions. I've been in the ministry for, nearly a decade, and you've been around the ministry for a decade, because, it was like, I went full-time and we got married, so you've been around as long as I have, and people do ask us questions, and we get, questions all the time that we don't really have the best solution for, other than, well, this is how we do it. And I think that's our heart, is you don't have to do it the way we do, but this is how we do it. And if it helps, take a tidbit of it and make it your own. And I heard Chris Hodges say this at a church conference, back in probably 2012. He said, just because you're here and you paid money and a lot of you guys flew in, and doesn't mean that you have to go back and be an exact mold of who we are. His hope was, maybe we can just give you something to take home, something to chew on, and apply it to your life. And I think that's our heart too, for whether it be, hey, if you're single and you're taking good notes, then that's great. Or if you're married and you just need to hear somebody else's perspective, this is how we do it. So talk just a little bit, 'cause I'm going to put you on the spot. Talk just a little bit about why we care so much about helping other families, other marriages, and not even helping, but just why do you feel like you want to share how we do our life and being authentic?
Man, that's so good. I think because we care about people. Like, our heart,
for sure.
We're not in ministry and serving in ministry and volunteering in ministry because it's just super fun and people are great all the time. Like, the truth is, we love people.
Yeah.
And we want the best for people. And so I
feel like I'm interviewing you.
I know, it does feel like
it feels like an interview.
I feel like you put me on the spot.
I did put you on the spot, but this is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
Every one of our conversations
we ask each other,
is
like,
authentic.
conversations. Yeah. Like, we play this game called Would You Rather all the time. Yeah. Like, would you rather put 2-year-old Shepherd to bed or make 2-year-old Daisy eat?
Ooh.
See? It's a hard one. So we play this game all the time. We put each other on the spot. No, but the truth is we care about people, and we want the best for people. And for me, personally, I want people to know that we don't have it all together. We have 4 kids, which really feels like 1,000 kids most days. We have teenagers and we have toddlers, and it feels like a lot. And today it really feels like a lot, which is timely to record this. But I think that we just want the best for people, and that however we do it may not be the exact formula for how other people do it, but the truth is we just want the best for families. We want families to thrive, and ultimately we want them to walk out the will of God, like whatever it is for their family, and for each individual child, and for each individual adult, and whatever that looks like in their life. And so I think that really we just love people, and we want the best for them.
Well, and we were just talking about how comparison is a thief of joy.
Yeah.
So our hope in this is not to make anybody fall into a comparison trap.
No.
But really to just evaluate your life and say, is there any area that maybe I do need to change? Because we do that all the time. Like, what is there anything that we need to look at? Like, did we just fall into we're just stuck in a rut and we've just been here because it's easy? And I think comparison, when we, if I get on social media and I look at people that have been in ministry for 10 years or longer and just see how, that God has just so blessed their life with, I don't even know if I like the word exposure, but just to see their ministry moving forward and how many people
significance, if you will.
Their significance.
Yeah.
I look at that and go, okay, why am I like what do I need to change? And there's even been seasons in my life of with jobs or whatever. It's like what do I need to change about me to make them like me more?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Nothing. I don't want to have to change who God created me to be as long as I'm being authentic to who God created.
Yeah, the best version of yourself.
Yeah, but being the best version of yourself doesn't allow you to just be a jerk. Like,
no.
I think, but you hear that. You're like, I'm just being me.
No, I'm gonna do me.
You're being a butthole. I don't know if I can say butthole on a podcast.
It's
but
our podcast. We can say what we want.
That's how we do it. But I think there's a lot of people that say, I'm just living my best life. Well, no, you're kind of being arrogant.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we don't want to get is we want to live our best life, but we also want to walk in the will of God.
Absolutely.
And there's a verse in the Bible that even says, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I think I don't want to look like the rest of the world. I don't want to look like the rest of marriages. I don't want to look like the rest of a family of 4 kids that's stuck in a house through this whole coronavirus. Like, I don't want to look like the world. I want to be transformed daily by who God is and what he has for our life. And I think walking in the free will of God is living the biggest life that you can live authentically in the will of God.
Yeah.
I think when we wake up and we make decisions on, well, we're going to do this because so-and-so down the street does this.
Yeah.
Or, we are going to spank our kids, or we're not going to spank our kids, or I am going to make you guys, or ask you guys strongly, I'm not going to make you do anything, but I'm going to ask you guys strongly to come to church because all the other, pastors have their wives and families at church. Like, we're going to look at things like that in our life and go, what do we want to do? Like, where do we feel peace about? Like, we have people ask us all the time, and I'm sure that we'll take a little bit of this podcast and just slow down and tell our story and a little bit of what we've gone through. But we do have people ask us, like, how do you deal with change so well? Well, I'm an Enneagram, like, 1 through 9. I think I broke the system. We talk about this all the time.
Not true. You're a 7.
Okay.
You're a 7 wing 8.
Sure. Whatever. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Okay.
But I think I am a strong 7, but I have strong 8 as well. So it's like I lean on that fence of like 49, 51% of either one.
Yeah, the challenger,
And so I do like change. But there's been a lot of our life from day one of being married. It's like, hey, we're married, now we're moving 4 hours away and starting a new church family and a new role and a new job. And all of this changed throughout the last 10 years of our life together. And we've just always been able to follow peace. Like, we've never made a forced decision. And so we walked through the process of adopting these 2 awesome girls that now are a part of our family.
Yeah.
And we followed peace. It was never a emotional decision. And I want you to talk into that a little bit about how we make decisions not emotionally.
Yeah.
Because it's this podcast, this beginning, this opener, this number 1 is really just to get to know us. I don't want to talk about a specific like topic about parenting, about children, about sex, about whatever. I just want to say, how do you make decisions as a woman?
Yeah.
Not emotionally.
Well, for me, it's hard because
and not to say not emotionally, because emotions are okay. But
make the final decision without emotion leading the decision.
Like buying a new TV sounds fun, and it sounded fun for months now.
Yeah, but I'm still team no bedroom TV.
But you're not on board yet. So I'm not going to make an emotional buy
because it sounds fun
to please something that sounds fun, or to just kind of say, I'm the man in the house, I can buy a TV if I want to.
Yeah,
I'm smarter than that. But I also want we talk things out, and we're on the same team. We're on board, and we make decisions together.
Well, I think you said something that's so true. Emotions are real, and that we experience emotions, but that's not what leads. I mean, we're in the middle of a quarantine, in the middle of having our 4 kids at home, and like homeschooling, which we
Yeah.
have several friends that homeschool, and this isn't like real homeschooling. This is like quarantine homeschool, which I did not sign up for, nor homeschool
Not
in
by
general.
choice. I
Not
love
by
my children.
choice.
Love
my children, but love when they go to public school, and we're very thankful for their teachers. But I think that I have to choose to have joy every single day,
Yeah.
and to be thankful for the ability to do that. And so I think it goes back to not relying on those decisions, and feeling the emotions of them. But then even we talk a lot about when we make decisions, it's like that delayed gratification of, you know, our kids, our two oldest daughters wanted AirPods for their birthdays. And we told them, like, you can't keep up with a sweatshirt, so we're not going to buy you AirPods.
Yeah.
But if you want AirPods and you get money for your birthday and for Christmas, you can buy AirPods. Like,
Right.
we're not going to keep you from purchasing those. But, like, it may be from their birthdays are in November, from November to January, before you have AirPods in your hand.
Right.
And so when I think about the way that we make decisions, I think about that delayed gratification of even experiencing all the emotions of, you know, something like, wow, this sounds really exciting, or this sounds really scary, or I'm really nervous. But then really processing that in our natural, and then in the supernatural with the Lord, of like, okay, what is the Lord telling us individually?
Right.
And then as a couple and as a family of the direction we need to go, and then processing that and that delayed gratification sense of like, okay, where do we land on that? And then what does that look like moving forward? And then trusting the Lord to help us walk that out.
Yeah. So talk a little bit, because, you know, I can hit on not making a decision because it sounds fun. Right, I think I've changed a little bit in doing that with maturity.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so I want you to talk from the other side of things, because when I wanted to move, and I felt like God was saying, "Hey, we need to move here. We need to start serving this church."
Yeah.
And here's where I think our next step is. It sounded fun for me, but I was trying to almost convince you, like, this is not a. It sounds fun. Like this is where I really believe God is taking us. And there was a little bit of that struggle of like, well, I don't feel that way. Like, I don't feel that. So how do you take those emotions and then line them up with, man, my husband is saying, I feel like God is saying we're supposed to do this, but I don't feel on board with it.
Yeah.
So I can't talk towards that, because obviously I've never had to go through that. But I know that, like, I think about our move when we went, the first moved out of Atoka.
Yeah.
It was like, you were not on board until you were, and it was like something switched. So maybe talk about that specific scenario.
Well, I think it's a process. I think it's really just comes down to trusting the Lord ultimately, and it's really just that faith in, you know, obviously your husband, but really in the Lord, and knowing that I know you hear the Lord, and that you're only going to make the best decision for our family, and that I trust you in that. And then maybe I'm not feeling it, or maybe I never even heard it from the Lord, and the Lord never told me, and you come out of the blue and say, hey, like, I think we're supposed to move here. I think we're supposed to do this thing, or I think we're supposed to start this. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't think that. But that doesn't mean that it's not from the Lord. And so I think really taking a step back of like, okay, well, it's not from me, but that doesn't mean that it's not from the Lord, and really just thanking the Lord in that. And then again, following peace of like, and it went from it wasn't to it was, because it was like, man, I know that I have peace in my heart, because I truly sought the Lord in this. And it wasn't like okay, Lord, I don't want this, so tell me no, so I can tell my husband that I don't feel this. It was really like, I know my husband is leading in this spiritually, so I just need you to give me peace. And then there's been times where I've continually said, like, I don't have peace, but you've also trusted me, and I really sought the Lord, and you've trusted that in me, of like, I've been 100% honest with you, of like, I don't have peace, but I still trust you. Right. So tell me about that.
I like you just keep telling me how much you trust me and that you love me.
I trust you and I love you, but there's been times where I've said, like, I don't have peace. I can think of one specific time where I've said, like, I don't feel like we're supposed to do that, and it took a while. Yeah. And it wasn't like a me versus you, but it was really like a, okay, you know what? Like, there wasn't total peace.
Yeah, no, I can think of the conversation. In my heart of hearts, I knew. Yeah. I knew that you were following peace, and like, there is literally something wrong. In the first conversation, I felt like you were just telling me no, or like you didn't want to go down that road because you just didn't want to.
Yeah, and that could have been totally true.
But great. But
the first conversation.
Right. But then it was, like I had to evaluate myself as the husband and say, okay, am I being in pride? Like, have I actually prayed about this, or am I pulling the like, you need to listen to me because I feel a peace about this?
Yeah.
To where really it was, I can say those words without ever praying about it, and my peace is now an emotional reaction.
That's good.
So when I sat down and said, okay, all right, God, if you're speaking to my wife and you're telling her something, align us back where we need to be. And I think we ended up saying no to whatever it was that we were wanting to do. But I think it all came back down to pride for me. It was like, I am the man of the household, and I am the husband, and you do respect me, and you do honor me, especially in front of our kids. But it comes down to we're helpmates.
Yeah,
to
we're on
each
the
other,
same team.
and we have an equal respect for one another. And I think this is how we do it. If one of us is off about something, I'm not just going to force my way through and say, you will follow me. And, there's some people that live that way, and there's some people that interpret the Bible that way, but I don't. And I don't think, and that's where, not that your interpretation of the Bible is different than my interpretation, and the Bible's all relative. That's not what I'm saying, because there is that movement. But I'm just saying, where I look at a healthy marriage is that we have an equal respect for one another, and that we have an equal understanding of the same Holy Spirit that talks to me as the husband and the leader of the household is the same Holy Spirit that speaks to you. And so I think that's where we're at on.
Well, and the Lord never wants division between us.
No,
so there would never be you have peace and I don't have peace, or we're gonna have two different Holy Spirit speaking to us. That's never. So we know maybe one of us is off, and that's gonna come into agreement one way or another.
Well, and we say all the time God is not a God of confusion.
100%.
And if there's any confusion in it at all,
it's not God.
We need to table it. We need to just table it. We need to pray about it. We need to let it go. Because there's sometimes that I want to make a decision as soon as an opportunity is on the table, or as soon as there's something new on the table, or something fun, something exciting. I'm like, boom, must be God because it's there. To where really it was just
sounds fun.
Yeah, there was a sale going on Facebook, and so I was like, must be God. It's 50% off. So
shoe sale.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. That's good.
That's good stuff.
It is good. I like that we can just sit down and be us. I think that's what I'm most enjoying about this process together.
Yeah.
Is that this is not a show. I mean, I guess technically it's podcast, YouTube show, but it's not a front. We ain't fronting. You know what I mean?
Front.
That's the new name of this series. We ain't fronting. Because this is us, and we make decisions together, and we don't go I'm not gonna go haywire.
Yeah.
And just spend a bunch of money and tell my kids something random without involving you in conversations. And I think,
and the transparency of there are decisions we make in the moment of you know what, sure, you can have 5 cookies. I just need a minute. Where it's no, heck no, you can't have 5 cookies.
You're not telling me I can have 5 cookies.
Right.
For clarity.
Kids.
I don't ask.
For clarity.
Just go get them. And then I'm sorry.
For our kids, but there are still moments every single day today where we disagree. Actually, I told them they couldn't. You told them they could. Where that's really, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
And it's we don't do it perfect. And we don't have it all together.
Perfect.
And every one of our kids, I mean, you're working on it, but every one of our kids is different. But we want to bring that clarity to other people that no one is really perfect.
Yeah.
But maybe we can have conversations that help people. Maybe we can talk with other people that help people.
Absolutely.
And maybe they can take nuggets from it, or maybe they can just be really amused by our conversations and how we do it.
Or maybe nobody will watch except for our parents, and
they're gonna root us on.
Yeah.
They love
They'll
us
have
so
t-shirts
much.
made. But I want to. we'll end with this because I don't even know how long we've been rambling. But I do want to. I want to talk about a conversation that we have pretty often about it's okay to not be okay, especially during this coronavirus pandemic. Rona can just go on back to the beach where she came from.
She didn't come from a beach. She came from somewhere we're not allowed to say on a Christian podcast.
I don't even know where you were going with that, but it made me nervous. I'm like, what are you about to drop right now? Am I going to have to find a beeping app? Anyway, so...
You're right. It's okay to not be okay.
It's okay to not be okay, especially during this. So talk to your mamas, okay? Talk to your moms during this, because there's times where I'm still having to go into work and having meetings in the office.
Today.
And today, I was gone not very long.
No.
I mean,
only a few hours.
On a normal day, I would have been gone
8.
a lot longer.
Yeah.
But in current circumstances, I was gone
maybe 4.
Maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
But when I got home, there was like this, like, who almost got like the whooping of a lifetime today. There was just a tension.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit towards like, during this time, it's okay to not be okay. And then I have a follow-up about staying in community.
Yeah.
Because during this time, like, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yeah.
And divide. And I think that through this time, it's so important to stay in community together. And I think I want to end with that.
Okay.
But I want you to talk about, because you're so good at the conversation of it's okay to not be okay.
I don't know if I'm okay. I don't know if I'm good at it, but I'm honest about it.
You live out the life of.
Yeah.
It's okay when people talk to you at church, it's like, hey, how are you doing? It's okay to say, you know what? I've kind of had a crappy day.
Yeah, and I 100%, like, if you're close to me, and even my very best friends on Marco Polo today, or a text message knew that, like, I was just not having a great day, and no one person, you didn't do anything, our kids didn't do anything,
I didn't do anything.
The dogs and cats didn't do anything. Okay, well, no one did anything. It was just, I woke up with a heaviness and a sense of, yesterday was your birthday, we had a super fun party all day. Today it was more of a like, oh dang, we have school to catch up on. I have 5 work meetings to catch up on. I have a first grader to teach. We have just housework to catch up on. We have stuff to do, and I personally just woke up with a heaviness that's kind of unexplainable in this sense. And I even immediately, as soon as I opened my eyes and felt that, was like, you know what, Lord, like, I choose joy today. And I fought that all day, but then I also was okay with being honest with my friends and being honest within community and with you even tonight, of like, you know what, it wasn't a great day, and I don't feel like I really failed at anything, but I also don't feel like it was like I was my best self in every circumstance either. But like, today I had to choose to be a really great employee. And at work, I was super present. I was super there for my team, and I did what I had to do at work. But on the motherhood front, like, we didn't do first grade today. I just said, you know what, like, we quit. Like, I quit first grade homeschool, COVID-19, I'm over it. Like, you can just go play outside, jump on the trampoline, and I'm done. But I had to make that choice, and it was okay. It was okay to not be okay at homeschooling my first grader, and it was okay to do my job well. And I had to make that choice today, and I think that was just something that presented itself today, but that's also some people's everyday lives, and they have to maybe not even choose between doing this or that, but also be honest with themselves of like, you know what, like, it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. And I think that's something important to me. It's not okay to dwell on that.
And it goes back to the conversation earlier on comparison. If we lived in that comparison trap all the time and saw Karen with her beautiful children, whoever Karen may be, Sharon, Karen, and Corona Karen, living out the perfect day-to-day homeschool life, and like, kids are sitting and reading and studying, and like, it's perfect, and like, they're making like marshmallow snowmen, whatever it is, and then we're
which is great.
And I'm like, guys, just go splash in a mud puddle, and then let's like see how the soap reacts to our dirt when we take a bath. Like, that's our lesson for the day, and I think that's okay. Not that we're
both sides.
Not
Karen and Sharon are okay.
If you've got it all together, do a
even
podcast
if you don't have it all
called
together.
We've Got It All Together and show me how. But I think that's where we're at, is that we're going to do life how we want to do life, not compare it to anybody else's life. And be okay. And if we miss the mark, it's a learning opportunity. If school teacher calls us and says, did you guys do first grade today? We're like, no.
But you know what I did learn today? I learned that I need to give our first grader a little bit more grace, but I also need to be a little bit more on her tail, because I'm giving her a little leeway. But I also need to be a little bit more like, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm your mom. You're going to do first grade today, and we're going to accomplish this together. But I also can't expect her to do her whole first grade in 2 hours just because I want to have it over with. And
but the cool thing you just said is that it was a learning moment. And I think that's the biggest part of how we do it, is that we're going to learn. We're going to live authentically. We're going to live in the will of God as close to we can. We're going to do life how we want to do life. And when we miss it, we're going to learn from it. And we're going to adjust. We're going to change the game plan. We're going to sit down and look at the book and say, we went left and we should have went right, and we're going to change things up.
And we're going to admit it. And we're going to apologize to each other. We're going to apologize to our kids. And we're going to say, like, tomorrow's a new day. We'll do it better tomorrow.
I had to apologize to one of them the other day. I was like, hey, I kind of lost my stuff, but I'm frustrated. I've never been a homeschooled dad. never been a homeschool dad, principal, coach, PE, biology teacher. Okay, so just
do the best we can.
Give me some grace.
Yeah.
But I think having those vulnerable, transparent conversations with your kids are okay.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. But let me end with this, and that's just in community. I want to encourage each and every one of you to make sure, you included, myself included, to make sure that we're staying in community,
yes.
whether it's through Zoom or through FaceTime or through Marco Polo, is that the enemy is going to try to use this time to create isolation through the church, throughout this nation.
Yeah.
And it's so important that if anybody is on your brain and you just randomly think of somebody, that you shoot them a text, that you say, we're thinking of you, that if you're thinking of your kid that day, send your kid a text message or drop in on their Alexa and say, hey, I just want to let you know I love you today, even though daddy's at the office. Like, there's so many things that we can do to stay in community. What did we do the other night with our friends back in West Texas? We played
bingo.
We played bingo on Zoom, and there was like 1 million of us on there. And for me, who is like, I want to be organized and structured, and I want to have a game plan, there was 1 million people talking, and it was halfway stressful.
It was so fun.
But I won, and I was right back in it. I won.
Okay, well, you had one round, but give it to the kids.
Doesn't matter how many rounds we played.
But we had fun, and we were in community.
Yeah, it was fun, and that was just kind of a reset. That was after probably about the first week of this whole stay-at-home self-isolation thing.
4.
And yeah, regardless of how long we've been in this house alone, it was just kind of a reset to me, because I am a 7/8, and I need that social interaction of give me some people time.
Yeah.
Even though it was in our living room and we had our TV airplayed to, our computer airplayed to the TV, there was people there, and they said my name out loud, and they said your name, and they said hi to our kids out loud, and they blessed our kids to be able to see their old friends, and it was just kind of a community social interaction reset without anybody getting too close and no germ-x involved, and it was just it was pleasant. So I'm gonna encourage you to stay in community. Listen, we've rambled long enough.
Yeah.
This is fun.
This
is our first. Listen, have grace on us. We are not professional podcasters. We're not PPs.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, we're not going to use that word anymore, but we're not professionals. Please don't.
But we have some things that are on our heart, and we want to just share how we do life.
We don't want to be experts. We really just want to encourage you. We want to love on you.
Yeah.
And we just want to really just pour our heart out and love people well.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, that's how we do it. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Facebook, the Book Face. You can
probably on MySpace, but I can't log in there anymore,
so
don't do that.
You can get a hold of Roxy on Instagram, Roxy L Hall.
Nope, just Rox L Hall.
What happened to the Y? I don't even know my wife's Instagram handle.
It's fine. ROXL HALL.
HALL. Rox L Hall. And I'm Chase T Hall on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us, messages, reach out to us. If you have any questions, comment on the video. Let us know what we should talk about. We've got a special guest for you.
Yeah.
That is big. I'm super excited about. A couple,
made me sit up more.
I know, a couple that's going to be joining us. We're going to be recording this week. Hopefully it should be dropping by the weekend. But it's big. I mean, I'm really excited about
We think they're a big deal. We love them. We honor them and their ministry. So we're excited to partner with them.
We look up to them, not only as individuals in their ministry, but their marriage and the way they communicate about certain topics. And so we're so thrilled to have them on our podcast next week. So, or I say next week, like we already have. I'm such in a podcast mode. Join us this time next week on This Is How We Do It. So anyway, it's going to be fun.
So this is how we do it.
This is how we do it.